Some Bundesliga.
Oh, yeah. When it's running late because we talk too much, it's Bundesliga Chat Time with Brooks and Craig.
And Nate. All right, buddy, what we got? Because you know what? There's a new team atop of the Bundesliga.
Shit.
Yeah.
You had one job, Union. You had one freaking job, and you screwed it up. But before we even get there, let's talk about we are the champions. How many English teams are moving forward, Craig?
Off the top of my head, I actually don't know.
Four.
I was going to say four.
And how many Bundesliga teams are moving up, Craig?
All of them.
4 out of 5. So you are correct, almost all of them. With only, unfortunately, Leverkusen,
only one
Xavi.
Spanish team.
What?
Only one Spanish team.
And Xavi wasn't able to save Leverkusen. He was a little bit too late coming in, but they're going to play in the Europa, and all the teams in the Europa moved forward. And really, the only team that kind of got knocked out was Cologne in the Confederations Cup or there.
Yep.
So Bundesliga doing fantastic in European football. Freiburg's undefeated within the Europa. Munich is undefeated within the Champions League. So they're all rounding it out. Leipzig needed to win. They did it. Good job, Leipzig. Frankfurt in that group. Let's talk about, hey, at halftime, we're out. And then we're number one, and then slide to number 2 last 2 seconds. That was a crazy group. That was a crazy group. But good on Frankfurt, because that's a team not full of superstars or anything crazy, and they're just playing good football.
Who just made a purchase
of
Paxton Aronson.
Boom.
Young Philadelphia Union player for $4 million.
Right. So I heard a rumor about this going on, but it wasn't Paxton that was actually named. That Frankfurt, because they're worried about their Japanese international star player, name escapes me right now, and I'm not going to look it up because we're running out of time. They're worried about him leaving because he didn't sign an extension, and he's having a career year, so they were kind of nervous about him leaving. So they signed Paxton to come in and step in for him. Let's turn it over to our MLS expert, Brooks. Paxton, how do you think he's going to do with that type of jump? Do you think it's something that, because I think Frankfurt historically, usually they lose one and they plug a new guy in. That's kind of like their thing, and they like to. They appear to have good scouts, and they appear to look for players kind of like this that they could bring on in. But based on what you've seen in the MLS, I'd be interested to know what you have to say or think about Paxton coming in, whether or not he's going to be a player that you think that can make that jump.
Yeah. Well, I know that Frankfurt likes the American player. They've really been recruiting the American player hard. So for Paxton, I mean, he's played a lot with Union 2, but he's also gotten first-team minutes with Philadelphia. Moves very similar to how his brother Brendan does. He can change direction very well. I don't see him as being used as much of a wide player as his brother is. I don't see that versatility in him, but he is very nitty-gritty, gets stuck in, willing to do the work. So it's going to be an interesting jump for him, but I think the Bundesliga is a place where he could do that. And even if his brother Brendan had started over there and not in Salzburg, I felt like Brendan could have done well starting there.
So Kamada is the Japanese international that they're looking to play. He plays more of an attacking midfielder. Is that a 1-for-1 trade then? Can he come in and play that type of attacking?
I think Paxton can score. I wouldn't say he's going to score you goals all the time, but he can create. And I think if they want a creator that can get them goals at some point, then that's.
So actually, that would be because Kamada is more of a creator than anything else. So and that's what he is more of a creator, a guy with a high engine, does a lot of work. So it sounds like from what you're saying, it sounds like that might be a good fit for them. So that'll be interesting to watch and how that goes.
Yep.
So just kind of rounding off the games and pushing things along real quick. We had Gladbach, Joe Scully's Gladbach play Stuttgart here. Unfortunately, Stuttgart took a dive. Gladbach came out very strong, looked really good. Then, rounding into the yesterday's games, The big game that I was hoping for an upset but figured would not happen was Hertha playing München. München jumped out to 3 goals. Hertha started to track back. Choupo-Moting, 5 starts, all competitions, and a goal in each one of those competitions. So it started as a, hey, I need a target forward because now I'm just going to play Chapo it's actually starting to look like he is a really good player for them and, is filling the shoes of Lewandowski. If this keeps up, it'll be incredible. He had 2 goals against Hertha there, and both that type of just like Lewandowski type goals where he's in the 18 and then pulling the trigger and finishing it off. So it's pretty interesting. We'll see how that kind of develops as well. Dortmund did very well. Gio Reyna scoring a penalty kick, penalty earned, penalty scored by Gio Reyna. Good for him to be playing.
Yep.
Moving on.
Wrap that man in bubble wrap and cotton wool.
Yep.
We need Gio Reyna to be healthy for the World Cup, which is 14 days away.
Yes.
That was a fast one, Greg. Moving on. Leverkusen versus Union. Nate's hopes die in a match. Union and Leverkusen go in drawless. And Leverkusen just come out and 30 minutes, basically 6 minutes a goal, just start popping them in. Left and right. They scored 5 goals in 30 minutes.
Holy crap. I'm going to put up the table real quick so people can see here. But holy crap.
Basically, it was everything that they said Xavi was brought in for. You have a bunch of really good players that they feel like they need to be inspired, they need to be motivated, they need to be pushed. And he didn't really change much tactically or formation. Just these guys just all of a sudden came out, started playing and firing second half. And it started with a goal, and then the Union goalkeeper had a mistake that led to a second goal. And then fast third, fast fourth, because they're pressing now because they're down by 2, they are able to counter with a third. And it seems to be working, and if they can keep this up, that would be great. But with every dark, rainy cloud and every shadow that casts upon the land and every jerk hole that goes, shut it. There's hope, Craig. There's Freiburg.
I know.
Freiburg came in.
Second place
They
now.
came in, and hats off to Christian Stock. Christian Stock, who's been with this team, I believe, around 11 years, and in his time, according to the announcers, I think they said 126, but definitely over 120 managers within the Bundesliga have been fired during his tenure within Freiburg. That has also included them being relegated and him bringing them back up. So you know what? Let's go Freiburg. Let's go Schwarzwald, Black Forest team. Beautiful area, by the way. Just going to plug that. Let's beat Bayern. Let's go, baby. And we have enough here. If you look at the points, everyone is, 26, 25? Let me read. I can read. 28, 27, 26, 25, 23, 22. Nate, why are you just counting out? Nope, those are the points separating all the teams. I'm not just counting. And that's how close it is right now. And my hope is that all of Bayern München's squad is basically going to go to the World Cup, which actually is a fact. All of them are going to the World Cup. Even Choupo-Moting is playing for his national team. All of them are gone. All of them will come back exhausted with cool gifts from Qatar, while Freiburg is taking time off, playing friendlies, getting ready. Union taking time off, playing friendlies, getting ready. Frankfurt, Dortmund coming back refreshed. Actually, Dortmund will lose some players, but they can then close that gap after 2 weeks into this national break that München doesn't get. God only hopes.
We can only hope.
God only hopes.
We know you want to see Bayern Munich go on and win the Champions League, but not win their own.
I want Bayern Munich to win the Champions League. I want Freiburg or Union to win the league, and hell, let's have Freiburg just win the Europa while we're at it. That'll just be funsies.
Oh, funsies. That describes our show pretty much. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for everybody for joining. Very much appreciate the love and support. Do us a huge favor. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share. And if you are listening on a podcast, whether it be Apple Podcast or whatever the other podcasts are, Spotify, do us a favor. Leave a comment. Let us know. Leave us a 5-star rating. Very much appreciate it. All right, guys, for the boys at the kids table and myself, we're out. Cheers. We'll see you next week.